Now, ladies and gentlemen, the final presentation before the lunch break. So give it up to the Mr. Albert Goh, Solution Consultant, to talk about changing in the world through digital experiences. A big round of applause to Mr. Albert.
Hello, good afternoon everybody. My name is Albert Goh and I'm from Adobe. I'm a solutions consultant based in Singapore. I'm very happy to come down to Kuala Lumpur today to present some of these solutions to you. I am also very cognizant of the fact that I'm the only thing standing in between you and lunch, so I will get on my presentation so that everyone can get on with lunch. But before that, I hope you will find this interesting. Okay, so my presentation today is on Adobe Cloud Solutions. Now, I know that many of you think of Adobe and instantly Photoshop comes to mind, right? Creative Cloud, Creative Suite, Illustrator, InDesign, and some of the wonderful creative tools. However, we also are responsible for PDF standards, right? Document standards in the world. We have made open standards, and also, of course, of the wonderful PDF authoring tool called Acrobat. It is part of our Document Cloud suite of solutions, and this is what I'm here to present to everyone today. Okay, so the context behind this, how many of you find this very, very familiar, right? This is a typical Office document, and obviously the you can see that the quality, is not great. There's the word Creative Cloud here, so basically this is actually an actual document sample that was taken from Adobe itself before we began this digital transformation within, and now we're trying to promote it outside of Adobe. 80% of document processors still rely on paper today, despite the fact that we have had this explosion of devices, right, mobile devices in the last couple of years, and we have got many different devices. We have got mobile tablets, right? We've got mobile phones, and now we even got wearables. Google Glass, iWatch, and even our interactive TVs are now, connected to the internet. And in Singapore, and maybe here, even the homes are now smart homes. And you are able to use the internet to control things like your lighting, turning your aircon before you even go home, and stuff like that. Well, this phenomenon has also spilled over to the workplace. Okay, so there's no reason why here at Adobe we think, well, why can't we have 100% document workflow, right? Why can't we have an entire workflow in the back end that is 100% digital, right? Okay, so currently only about 9%, right, of document workflows are actually fully digital. The remainder is 36% deal with completely paper-based, and 54% are a mix of paper and digital. This is quite surprising if you think of the amount of investments that we have made on the back end, servers, websites and everything, but yet at in the organization itself, only 9% is fully digital. So it's quite surprising, right? So the question is, how can we change this? What kind of tools do we need in order to really enable organizations to transform their workflow and get more efficiency as well as effectiveness in the workplace? So I guess over at Adobe, we have started by saying, well, we want to break down the life cycle of a document into its main steps. The first one is document creation, right, where you can use an authoring tool that is not meant to work against or in competition with Microsoft Office, but instead is meant to complement Microsoft Office, right? And then secondly, once a document is created, you want to formalize and transact. Documents are used for a variety of purposes, right? Informational purposes, but it's also used for contracts, right? You need to be able to use documents and sign and effect agreements, but how can we do it in a digital fashion? And then the last thing is, of course, store and reuse. And when I talk about store and reuse, I don't mean cloud storage. I mean a way to digitally and intelligently archive digital documents so that they can be easily searchable and retrievable from a system. That is not available really in a widespread manner today. Okay, so what kind of tools do we have in the document cloud ecosystem? Well, a document cloud ecosystem really is made up of a couple of components. The first one, of course, is a desktop app, which is Acrobat. Right? Acrobat comes in different flavors. It comes in Acrobat DC and Acrobat Perpetual. Acrobat DC stands for document cloud, right? There's a professional and then there's a standard version. And I know that when the word cloud comes to mind, many lay people, many people out there think that, oh, cloud means it's just Acrobat, Perpetual plus cloud storage. No, that's not true. Okay, it's is it you need a constant internet connection in order to be able to use Acrobat DC? No, that's not true either. Basically, what Document Cloud or Acrobat DC, or the word cloud, really refers to is a combination of desktop as well as PDF services, which is the second one that you see over here. PDF services relates mainly to the ability for Acrobat to talk to one another. In other words, Acrobat on my machine and Acrobat on your machine to talk to one another. And what does that allow us to do? That allows us to collaborate digitally, and that starts to lead to transformation of workflow. Okay, so desktop apps and then PDF services. Okay, so basically what Acrobat has, or Acrobat DC has today, is a hybrid of standalone features as well as cloud-based features. It allows you to do things like be able to send and track documents, be able to distribute things like forms, and be able to do things like electronic signatures, which is the third circle over here. Okay, so we of course have mobile apps that are free to download. It's called the free Adobe Acrobat Reader for mobile. All right, it's free to download. However, the workflow capabilities are unlocked once you sign in with a subscribed account. And then you are able to now transfer your work, start something on the mobile device, and easily and seamlessly integrate it into your desktop, right? So it doesn't matter where you work, you can work anywhere, anytime. That's the whole idea behind digital transformation and 100% digital workflows. And of course, leveraging on all the investments that organizations have already made in the back end, all the systems we have also provided to all subscribers the APIs available for any IT department who wish to integrate Acrobat and Adobe Sign into their backend systems. So what exactly are the tools, or what are the solutions that we are actually offering? Well, the first one is the desktop app with PDF services. It's called Acrobat DC. Okay, this is the one that resides on the desktop. You can use it to author, you can use it to manipulate PDF documents. The second one is Adobe Sign. This is slightly new. This is our electronic signature solution and also digital signature solution, right? It's very secure. You can basically sign documents on the go in a legal and secure manner. The whole idea behind Adobe Sign is that most of the representatives of a company that are authorized to sign legal contracts typically tend to be quite senior in position. Senior people usually don't have a lot of time, number one, and number two, they are usually out of the office. So it means that they are usually the bottleneck, right, with contracts being signed and contracts being piled up on the work desks. Well, in this case, since the mobile device is so pervasive in today's workplace, so the understanding, the logical thinking is that, well, why can't we allow everyone to sign legally, securely, anywhere they are, right, using the mobile device, okay? And that's something that I'll be demoing to you in just a minute. Of course, there's web and mobile apps and integrations, okay? So this is just some of the solutions that we have. Let's take a quick look at some of the use case. One use case in particular. So this is a typical workflow in terms involving a non-disclosure agreement between a company and an outside counterparty. So usually what happens is the non-disclosure agreement has to come out in draft form. So we talk about life cycle of a document. It is born, right? It is drafted. And draft NDA is made by legal department and then emailed out over to the account manager here. So email out to account manager who reviews it, and then he has to customize it to his or her particular need, or his department's particular need, right? And then from there, he has to send it, over back to the business development or his boss, right? And then he'll email it back over to legal. So once it goes back to legal, legal has to review to see whether the changes that's been made to customize this non-disclosure agreement is done so in accordance with the company policy, right? So they have to take another second eyes on, and then you apply edits and then email it out over to the business development, who has to review it, and then after that email it out back to legal, who has final approval on the non-disclosure agreement. And then from here, legal will then use Adobe Acrobat to convert to PDF, right? Which is what I suppose Adobe Acrobat is most famous for. And then from here is email out to the counterparty. So just one thing to note, at the top bar here, everything is digital, right? However, not everything is automated, but everything is digital at this point. So this is where the process starts to break down, okay? So here, it's email out to the external counterparty, and what does the external counterparty do? He prints it out, signs it, scans, and email it back. So there's a physical paper workflow involved here where the digital workflow breaks down, okay? Then from here, it's then emailed back to the company, okay? And the company has to countersign, right? Because it's a non-disclosure agreement, and it requires 2 signatures. So the company has to countersign, and from here is where, despite having a digital workflow in the beginning, right, in the inception of this document, right here within the organization itself, it's again, it has a physical paper workflow where the company has to print out, right, the scanned copy with the signature there of the counterparty, and then sign it, right, scan it, and email it to the counterparty, and email it to all the stakeholders within the organization, and then after that file it inside within the legal archive or something like that. So this is a typical kind of workflow, okay? And it involves, I suppose it's part of the 54% that we just saw earlier. It involves a mix of digital and paper-based, right? But we think we can do better, okay? So how do we get rid of the manual process here, and then also digitize the signing process here? And from here, I think that this thing can be reduced down from 24 steps, right? 12 of which are manual, to just 6 steps, none of which are manual. So basically, how does this work? Well, of course, legal will have to give birth to the document, like take a draft NDA, okay? And then they will have to upload it, maybe something like to SharePoint or some back-end system where everybody can access it. And from here, you can invoke Acrobat's shared commenting tool, where you are able to see everyone's comments. It's not a shared editing tool, it's a shared commenting tool. So not everyone has the right to edit the document, but everyone has the right to comment on the document, highlights, underline things, cancel words, and so on and so forth. And the beauty about it is everyone can do it simultaneously, and everyone, all the stakeholders involved, legal, business unit, and so on and so forth, have got eyes on every single comment that's been made. So they can have a live discussion on the document based on chat thread. So you have one single feature on the document that you highlight a word and say, no, I don't think this should be there. Someone can reply and say, no, I think this one can be there. There's been a change made by legal just last month. Do you remember? So on and so forth. And they can have that live discussion, and that will take a very, very short time, right, before the document is finalized and approved, and then sent out to the counterparty. Now, when it's sent out to the counterparty, guess what? The counterparty gets to sign it on his or her mobile phone using Adobe Sign, okay? Because when you send things to Adobe Sign, the counterparty does not need any other solution other than a mobile phone, an email client, and a web browser, maybe Chrome, maybe Safari, whatever, okay? And that's all that's needed. The counterparty does not need a subscription to Adobe Sign, only the sender does. And then it's done here, and then after that, of course, Adobe Sign takes care of the routing and it automates the whole process behind all the who it goes to if you have a multiple signature solution. And then from here, it is automatically stored into an ERP system if the IT has got the capability to integrate Adobe Sign within the back-end system, so that the document is filed automatically and it can be searchable and retrievable easily by the stakeholders, okay? So this is something that I think is a huge improvement over the current document workflows today. Okay, now before we go into that, what I want to do now is I want to switch over and show you just 2 tools within Acrobat itself. Okay, all right. So from here, this is Acrobat itself, and what I want to do is I want to show you this thing called prepare forms. Okay, so how many times in the organization, right, do you have a case where you need to prepare a form for, let's say, filling up by all the company employees, and it is done in a way where you need 100 or 150 signatures. It could be things like compliance forms or declaration. You can say, okay, this year I did not receive gifts of more than XX dollars amount, okay, and then make a declaration and sign. And this is you have maybe 200, 300 employees in a particular office, and you need to do this quickly, seamlessly, efficiently, right, without losing that sense of security. So this is how it's going to work. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this. Let's go to Document Cloud, and let's go to Prepare Form. Okay, so typically the Prepare Form would be something like this. So this is a sample form, right? And usually when typical organizations these days need to prepare form, this will be open in Microsoft Word, and then you got to create fields, right, for people to fill in digitally, right? It's two ways. You either let people fill in digitally, or you have that filling in, print, fill in, sign, scan, and fax back or email back, that sort of thing. So from here, how do we create fields quickly and seamlessly? Well, there's this thing called prepare form here, right? It's a little function here in Acrobat itself. And all I have to do is to say prepare form, right? And then they'll ask me, is this the form you want to prepare? I say, yes, please. This prepare form, and boom, everything's done. Just with one click of a button, everything is done, all right? Now, each form field, right, as you know, if you're going to make sense of the data, needs to have a unique name. It needs to have a name that makes sense and is meaningful. Now, if I zoom in here, you see that Acrobat, there is this little AI built in, and it's called Adobe Sensei. And it's built in to kind of be able to, it's like artificial intelligence, okay? To be able to smartly recognize that, hey, there's a space here, there ought to be a field. What kind of metadata or what kind of field name should it have? Oh, look, there's some words called first name, and you say first name. Home address and home address. Phone number and phone number, and that's it, right? So it's smart enough to be able to assign proper names that make sense to users, right, to the correct fields. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say File, Save As, and just save it as a, a little form. And I'm going to just maybe I just want to overwrite an earlier one and say, okay, replace. So this is done, right? So at this stage of the process, what happens? Well, typically the person preparing the form will have to compile a list of sendees, and then they will have to send it out via email, attach it to email, and send it out. Now, Acrobat can do this for you. You don't even need to do that. And Acrobat can keep eyes on and track who you have sent to, who has responded, and who has not. Okay, so it goes something like this. From here, there is this little button here under the Prepare Form tab that says Distribute. And if you can distribute, right, you click on Distribute, and it says, well, how do you want to distribute? Do you want to distribute via email, or you can do it via internal server? So you can attach the PDF form in the server and distribute it to everybody, okay? In this case, let's look at the email example, because I don't have a server here, and say continue. And what it'll say is send using Acrobat DC. You can say next, and then over here, all you need to do is just type in some email addresses of your colleagues, and then just send. That's it. That's a customized message you can add in, and that's it. Now, this recipients will get this document, right, as an attachment in their email itself, if this is the way, okay? But what is the experience of the recipient? Okay, so the recipient is going to get something like this. The recipient is going to get this form here. If I double click on it, you see that this is just a sample form, right? It's the same form, but it gets this little purple bar at the top, and the purple bar says submit form. So there, it reduces the risk of people having to fill in the form, right, and then signing it, and then having to attach it in the email and email it back manually, and running the risk of people typing in wrong email addresses, sending it back to the wrong person, so on and so forth. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is fill it in and hit submit form. That's it. That's all that's needed. Now, back to the sender. What does the sender get? Well, the sender gets this. The sender gets this, responses. And this is going to look kind of weird, but the sender is going to get something like this, okay? And you will say, hey, wait, what the hell is this, right? What on earth is this? Well, this is basically a PDF portfolio. What Acrobat does is it creates a PDF shell. All PDF documents come in, right? All the forms come in, and it goes into this PDF shell, right? The PDF shell has a special function that extracts all the data out. So basically, it relieves the sender from having to do this cumbersome data re-entry process again, right? Because there will be some intern sitting in a corner of the office somewhere having to do this, maybe spend a day or two if they are like 250, 300 responses. No need for that. Basically, what happens is all the responses come in, they go straight into this table. if I double click on this, you actually get to see the actual fill-in form itself, right? If you close this, it goes back to this one. And if I now zoom in here, you see that there is a table here that has the name, right, the address, city, zip code, everything. So all the fields and all their values are all tabulated for you nicely. What can you do with this? Well, from here, I can now click on export, right? I click on export and say export all. Okay, so if I export all, it says, okay, what do you want to export as? I want to export as a CSV file. It automatically puts it into an Excel file. No re-entry, data entry needed. Okay, so this is quite fast. It is, allows, it takes away all the repetitive tasks of the office worker and allows the person to spend time really crafting a proper compliance form and ensuring that the process is secure and is done properly. Okay, so that you don't miss anyone out. All right. There is also a tracking system inside here that allows the sender to keep track of who has responded and who has not. So this is the first one. Okay. This is called the prepare forms. Now the second demo I want to do is e-signature. Just want to quickly do a demo on what the experience of the electronic signatures is. So give me some time. Let me just get rid of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, open up this little NDA. So this is a simple non-disclosure agreement here, okay? And what I want to do is, let's say I want to send this for signature, electronic signature. Well, if you're on the VIP program, in other words, Creative Cloud for Teams, okay, for organizations, it comes together with this thing called Send for Signature. This is a small little brother of Adobe Sign, which is the bigger enterprise level solution, okay? Send for Signature allows you to send documents legally and securely for signature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say send for signature, all right? And it's going to say, well, is this the one you want to send for signature? Yes, please. I would like to now prepare form, right? I prepare form, and it basically creates a name there, and all the form fields are all prepared, okay? So over here in this form, you can see that there's consultant and company. It's an NDA, right? So there are 2 signatures needed. So send for signature takes care of the routing process. It is very, very fast. All I have to do is to go inside here and say, well, okay, I would like to double click on this, and I can change this, right, from anyone to signer 1. So I designate this as signer 1, okay, all right, and then I click on this, and I can designate this as signer 1 as well, okay. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to now click on this, right, same thing, signer 1, okay, this one as well is also signer 1, and this one is also signer 1. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to click on this and say this is signer 2. Okay. Here, signer 2, and here as well, signer 2. Okay. All right. And now I'm going to close it, and that's it. So that's the whole process, and all I have to do is to send for signature. Now, what will Acrobat do? It will upload this thing to the cloud, right, and say yes, ready to send. Now, at this juncture, I have to make sure that I'm actually connected to the network. So, I'm going to just, okay, here, I want to connect to the network and make sure that I'm using my phone to tether here and make sure that I actually do have an internet connection. And so I'm going to say ready to send, and I'm going to click send. This is at this time I start praying to the internet gods to work together with me so that every one of you can have as early a lunch as possible. But it's working, it's going up. So I think it's not bad, right? Gods are in our favor today. Okay, so from here, all I have to do, okay, maybe I spoke too soon. It's at 70%. Usually if it gets past 70, it means it's okay. Oh, here we go. All right. Adobe Sign, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 2 fictitious emails that I use for demo purposes. Let's zoom in here. I'm going to say this. All right, it's just a simple Gmail account. I'm going to send it to a BU first, right? And then I'm going to send it to legal, here like this, all right? And I'm going to just send it here. Let's call it, so that we give it a unique name, 5th April 17, right, like this. And once I change the name, you can see the name change here, okay? So I just want to just change the name, and then I'm going to say send. So it's going to upload this to the cloud. It's going to do this, sending it. It's going to upload it to the cloud, okay? And it's going to send it to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now open up this QuickTime Player. Why am I doing this? No, not so that you can see my face, but actually what I want you guys to see is actually my phone. So let's simulate a scenario where I actually get this on my phone. I'm going to open up Gmail, right? This is where I send it to. I send it to Gmail. If I take this and I go to this one here, which is BU, right? Okay. Okay, you can see, please sign 10 April, this one. So this is the document I send out, right? So I tap on it, right? And I get an email here. And I say, oh, please sign this thing. I'm going to tap on this little thing here. And there we go. Okay, that's signed. And it opens up Chrome, because Chrome is my default browser in here. So all you need is an email client and Chrome. I'm not operating this through any Adobe Sign app or anything like that, okay? Because you can't guarantee that the sendee or the recipient is going to have an app like that, right? But what you can guarantee is that yourself, you can have the Adobe Sign subscription. And from here, it's going to open this thing, and everything is all guided. So you see this yellow thing, right? I'm going to say start, right? And it brings me to the first field, and I say, okay, Albert, right, here. And then I'm going to say, okay, return, and then go to next. It brings me to the next one, all right? That's it. And I'm going to say, this is, where is this? I'm going to say, yeah, KL, you know? Okay, it's going to say return. It's going to say next. I go to next, it's probably going to show me this little thing here, all right? Now, if I move over here, you can see that I am unable to sign on the wrong place in the document, right? Because I designated it as signer 1 and signer 2. So all I'm going to do is just click on this, and this is the signing experience, right? I can tilt my phone this way, all right, if I want this thing to be here like that. And then I can just use my finger to sign and just create an image. I can type it in like this, right? Based on whatever has been typed in over there, you'll see that the name will appear. Or I can just create a signature using my phone. I can just say, okay, this one here, put an exclamation mark so that you guys know it's me, okay? And then here, I'm going to say apply. And then from here, it will ask me, are you sure you want to legally sign this? Yes, please. I want to legally sign this. I want to click to sign, and then it's going to do its thing. Now, over here, what I want to do, right, is I want to now, give me 1 second. I want to now bring this over here so that we can see both the phone and this thing at the same time. All right, okay, so my phone is here. And back on the sender's area, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say manage this document. What it does, it opens up a dashboard that allows you to track the status of the document that's been sent out, whether it's been looked at, whether it's been signed, what on earth is going on, right? Okay, let me just close this so that you don't take up the bandwidth. And let's take this one here. So open up the dashboard. Okay. So while it's opening up the dashboard, let's go back to the phone, and I'm going to say, okay, that's good, right? I'm going to go back to my Gmail, okay, and I can tap on it, and then I go back to the legal, and you can see straight away that it's been routed automatically to me, okay? The routing is automatic. So here you can see that there's out for signature here, okay? And what I want to show you is this is the here, okay. So this is the document that's just been sent out, and you can see that I have this image here like this. You can see the little exclamation mark. So this is the one that I just signed. Okay. If I go into history, as a sender, I just tap the history and say, what on earth is going on with this document? Has it been sent out? Has the person actually seen it? What is going on? And all I have to do is to go inside here, and as you can see that the document is uploaded, sent out for signature, viewed and signed by these people with all the date and timestamp. The entire process, the metadata, is captured by Adobe Sign. And this is the aspect or the feature of Adobe Sign that makes it legal and secure as well. Okay. So right now, back to this thing, I'm going to now go inside here and say, well, let's go and sign this. So the process is going to be very, very similar. It's going to open up in Chrome. It's going to say, okay, let's go and open up this document. And okay, and from here, it opens up the document. You give it some time to load up, right? And you can see everything has been filled in. If I click on Start, it brings me straight to this thing. Now, this field has been unlocked for the second signer. All I have to do is to tap on it, right? And then again, I can just now say, oh, I want to go type, and just say, oh, look, it's a legal, what do you call, name, right? Here like this. I can click apply. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to use this method and say, okay, click to sign. So I click to sign, and everything is now being processed. And in the cloud, right, the signatures are being put together, and a PDF document with both signatures is being created and encrypted as well by Adobe. Okay. So when this process concludes, really, all I have to do as a sender is I'm going to say, let's go to remind, and then just go back to history tab, just to refresh the whole thing. And a new set of steps is going to appear, because I'll be able to see that this thing, right, document has been signed also by the legal person, has been viewed and signed by the legal person, right? So over here, what I have to do is I can say, let's go and generate an audit report. What's the audit report? Well, if I click on it, it generates this PDF that's viewable on either Acrobat or on the browser itself. And this is an audit report that shows the steps of everything that's come for this particular agreement. And if I go inside here, you can see every single thing has been captured, right? The same data. And in addition, you can actually see that we do have the IP addresses of each step, right? And if there's any dispute, this information can be presented in a court of law for legal purposes, right? To say, okay, this is the one source of truth, right? And yeah, that is Adobe Sign, right? This is Adobe Sign, the second feature that I wanted to show to you. This document itself is also encrypted with Adobe's digital signature, so this document and the signed document cannot be tampered with, okay? All right. So this is Adobe Sign. Prepare Forms is the first one, Adobe Sign is the second one. It is an example of both desktop standalone features as well as cloud-based features. Okay, so back to my presentation. I'm at the tail end of my presentation, and right now, the last thing that I just want to say is to plug a little event that I'm doing tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow Adobe is hosting this thing called the Adobe Cloud Solutions Day. It's being held from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Le Meridian Hotel, Clark 2 Level 6 at Central, Kuala Lumpur Central itself. So if any of you are interested to know more about Adobe Acrobat, Document Cloud Solutions, as well as Creative Cloud Solutions, this is a whole 3-hour event that I'll be doing just on behalf of Adobe only. Okay, I invite everyone to come. If you have any questions on how you wish to sign up for this event, please go to the Adobe booth outside, and my colleague Rachel will be there to help you out with everything. Okay, thank you so much for being such a great audience, attending audience, and I'm very happy to release you for lunch now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. Thank you so much. Perhaps there's a question that probably you want to attend to later. You know, your name has changed to Mr. Adobe.
Okay.
All right. Is there a throat to choke when things go wrong, or is all support web-based only?
It depends on the type of subscription that you have. We have this wonderful thing called the Enterprise, VIP and Enterprise. So if you're an Enterprise customer, definitely you get priority support as early as 2 hours from the time that you send in and log in a case. All right. From there, there's also phone support or web-based support.
I think that's. Can we import documents in other formats and then manage by Acrobat tools that you just demo?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so basically there are two tools in Acrobat that allows you to work together with Microsoft Office documents. The first one basically is called Combine, and essentially what it is that the use case is, you know, people want to do presentations. They have PowerPoint presentations. They got to deliver financial documents, like in Excel sheets. They got to do maybe screenshots of a newspaper article, and they have to do a legal contract. So you have a presentation basically that involves jumping around the different Microsoft apps. So what we do is we can do this combined thing where you're able to pull in all the different documents, right? Rearrange all the pages, and then convert them to PDF as one single PDF and present it in Acrobat itself. You notice my presentation itself is actually done using Adobe Acrobat because I find that it's easier, you know, with the displays and everything. The second one is this thing called PDF Portfolio, right? So maybe I can show you this in answer to this question. Maybe I can show you this thing. If I go inside here, right, I can show you this thing called a PDF Portfolio, okay? And essentially what it does is it creates a PDF shell around different Office documents without changing the underlying format of the document. And then with this, you can actually email or communicate this document out to any stakeholders, and that stakeholder itself will only get one attachment in the email. Okay, so that's very, very convenient, right? And when the person opens it, he's able to go into the native format of that document, like PowerPoint or Office or whatever, and just edit it using that. So here is an extreme example of a PDF portfolio. So this is a PDF portfolio. If I click on this, right, it's a resume, but you can see that the icon is slightly different. Now, if I were to double click on this, right, it opens up in here, and this is a PDF document. From here, I can say get started, and you see this thing here. Okay, so this is a PDF document, and if I double click on it, right, this person has prepared a resume, and here you, right? So this is a PDF. Obviously, this person has embedded things other than, you know, Microsoft Office, you know, inside here. It's done things like Flash and everything, but that underscores the range of formats that can be included in the PDF portfolio. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Albert.